So welcome everyone to the Co-Creators Convergence Thursday night call. We have these every Thursday night, and you're all welcome. And you can join us in the room right now or enjoy us on Facebook. If you put your comments into Facebook, we will certainly get it to our guests tonight. My name is Noelle Marshall. I'm co-founder of the Co-Creators Convergence, along with my beloved Bob Warner down there. There he is. And we've been doing this together since we met Barbara Marks Hubbard in 2013. And she is the inspiration for our group because she sees us all as co-creators with the spirit within, and we have many gifts to bring. So we have two very special guests tonight. But before we go there, I want to play a little video. It's 1 minute and 11 seconds to tell you a little bit about what the Co-Creators Convergence will be doing at the upcoming World Unity Week. And if you haven't registered for World Unity Week, very easy, worldunityweek.org, register, and then you will get all the emails about what's coming. But you don't have to register, but we would appreciate that you register. So let me do a little screen share here. So we hope you join us. We have a lot of exciting things, including our special guests, Miriam Williamson and Daniel Ellsberg, as well as Stephen Dinan, the CEO of the Shift Network. And everything I want to mention about the World Unity Week is offered freely. So there is no fee to pay. So I say it's offered freely, but we also have a donate button, because it does take a lot, it takes some currency to unite the world. So if you'd like to join us in that, your donations would be most welcome. And you will go to worldunityweek.org/donate, and that's where you'll find that. So without any further ado, I want to introduce you to Maver. And Maver is a peace builder and educator who inspires cooperation on behalf of the common good. That's why I like her so much. She is co-founder of the Global Silent Minute. And she also has the National Peace Academy USA, the Global Alliance for Ministries and Infrastructures for Peace, and the River Phoenix Center for Peacebuilding. So Dot is a major peace builder, bridge builder, and a good friend, a lovely person. And I just love Dot. And we've had some really good times together on the steps of the National Lincoln Memorial, on Flag Day, many different places, literally around the world. So Dot, welcome tonight. And you've brought a very special guest, and I don't know, would you like to introduce Marty K. Casey, Dr. Marty K. Casey from Ferguson, Missouri?
Yeah, I would love to introduce Dr. Marty. It's one of my favorite things. And Noelle and Bob, thank you so much for your consistent raising of awareness and consciousness. My goodness, over all these years, and the momentum just keeps growing. So thank you. We are delighted to be with you right now in the CCC, Co-Creators Convergence Room. So Dr. Marty Casey Well, actually, where to begin, Marty, with you? A sister, a dear co-worker, just so our hearts unite across distance, as with all of you in this moment. And you know, Dr. Marty is actually from St. Louis, which is the sister city to Ferguson. And when Michael Brown was killed in Ferguson, Dr. Marty realized that something needed to be done. And she thought of the children and founded the Show Me Arts Academy, showmeartsacademy.org, and has helped thousands of children to heal and gain confidence and know themselves as unique contributors with innate wisdom and value and all. And it's all about love, Dr. Marty says. And then Dr. Marty realized that hurt people and healed people heal people. So she founded Ungun Institute. And I have the great privilege and honor of working with Dr. Marty to bring Ungun, which is collective trauma healing through the arts. I will tell you, it's powerful. We'll talk more about that in a bit. But Marty was also one of the top 25 businesswomen in St. Louis. I don't remember what year that was, Marty, but recently. Excuse me. And there's so many other things that could be said about Dr. Marty. So as we're here this evening, maybe you want to say hello, Marty, and then I'll just share a few thoughts, because I also want to mention Barbara Marks Hubbard, who was and is a dear sister and co-worker also.
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you, Dot, for that lovely introduction. And Noel and Bob, I am so appreciative of you all opening up this invitation and platform to be here this evening. It is such an honor to be in the room with everyone as we come from our respective places to gather and to have a conversation that is so needed, but this conversation is in love. And so I just want at this time to invite everyone to come in, kick your shoes off, get comfortable, because we will be talking from the heart. And so thank you again for having us.
Talking from the heart. I love it. And you can see your heart right there, Marty. I love that.
Yes, this is a special gift that I'll tell you about a little bit later.
Nice. So yeah, it's so in these Zoom rooms too, and Dr. Marty and I love to just say, please, everybody get a little bit more intimate in the Zoom room. So if you can show your video, that would be great if you don't mind. And I think everyone probably, as the conversation begins, has the capacity to be able to speak. There she is, Cecilia. Thank you. So, you know, the topic for this particular sharing is ageless wisdom and trauma healing in turbulent times. And as Marty and I have been discussing that, it's a big topic. But it's huge. It's so close to our hearts. And, you know, Barbara Marks Hubbard, Bob, Noel, I know you knew Barbara and probably still do very well, and same. And so often spending time with her, and she was a dear friend and, dare I say, mentor. And in so many of our conversations, she always said that first there's breakdown, then there's breakthrough. Well, I submit that now it's simultaneous, or as our friends in Australia say, simultaneous. We are experiencing an all systems breakdown on this planet at the same time we're experiencing an all systems breakthrough. It's so challenging. And we're living in a time of every great cycle turning at once. So as Joanna Macy reminds us, we are living the great turning. I think it feels like we should repeat that. We're living the great turning. It's amazing. The pressure is incredible. The pain, the suffering is incredible. And at the same time, as Barbara would always remind us, we signed up for this and we are co-creators. Exactly. We are co-creators, and joy is a special wisdom. So we're not always happy about what's going on, but innately we are joyful, and we are solutionaries, and we see the way through and help help bring that forth. So I just want to share 3 tenets of the ageless wisdom as we look at this big picture on the planet, and we come together as, and I'm going to say, as knowers, and we unite our hearts across distance. And I think, Marty, I'd like to do a global silent minute and then name those 3 pieces, and then maybe you would take us into some conversation and open that with prayer.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's take just a moment as we gather. Take a deep breath and ignite the flame of peace and unity in our own hearts. And we unite our hearts across distance. And as we come together, we invite all those around the world and all those on the other side of the veil who are also cooperating for peace, for unity. And we take a moment of silence, knowing that the power of silence is greater than we know. We take that moment in sacred unity. May peace prevail on earth. So 3 tenets of the ageless wisdom. All is one. We actually differentiate from one source. Hylozoism. Everything is alive. It is all part of one life. And energy follows thought. We literally are what we think we are and who we think we are. Thoughts are things. So I have to say, I've been loving seeing more and more bumper stickers that say, be kinder than necessary, or pay it forward, or pass it forward. And so much happening on the planet right now that speaks to us becoming aware of who we are and that we're all in this together. And so what Dr. Marty and I have been discussing, even as the heart of humanity is opening and we are realizing these basic truths, trauma is prevalent on the planet. We are wounded. The planet herself is undergoing trauma, and wounds require healing. So in order to realize the beauty and really come together and experience peace, living in right relationship with self, others, and all life, there's a great need for healing, for connection, for healing, for loving, for healing. And Dr. Marty, nobody speaks to that better than you. And maybe you could take us into the conversation, as I said, with some prayer as well. So here we go.
Absolutely. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you right now, creator of all. And we come and we ask you to be present, not just in this Zoom room, but in all of the rooms across this earth. We ask right now that you open up the heart of man, because that is where we can truly do the work. We understand that the heart leads the mind and the mind leads the body. And right now we need to be all on one accord, understanding that we are all one. We are unified. We come in love. We come in peace. But before there can be peace, we must understand it has to be justice for all. And so to love mankind, to love us, each other, our brothers and sisters, no matter what the differences are, we want to unify today And we ask as we remove ourselves and be empty vessels to be used, not just in this moment, but even foreseeing in World Unity Week as world leaders come together. We ask that you fill us up with your power and your spirit to lead and to guide us and show us the way. We know that you have created every living thing breathing on this planet. And we ask right now for the trees and the bees and the butterflies and everything that you have created, that you allow us to line up and love it just as we love ourselves. We pray these things today and forevermore. Amen. As we move into this conversation, and even as I was praying, it was brought to my remembrance that there is no testimony without a test. And trauma is a test. Trauma is a test. Trauma is a test of your perseverance. Trauma is a test of what you're made out of, what you believe in yourself, deep from within. And God knows I have been tested. Now, I don't know about anyone else. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna put this on gallery view because I like to see faces. I'm moved by the energy that comes from everyone in the room. And I have to say that as well, as I'm jumping around a little bit. I hope that you can follow me. That's kind of like what I do. But we are energy. This is an energy that we're feeling right now in this Zoom room. It's an energy even with those who are gathering, who's watching us on Facebook, and those who will even watch this repeat later. It's an energy that is being produced. So when you think about that, and you think about all of the tests that we have been taken through collectively around the world, what are the testimonies that we're going to take? What's the takeaway? What's the takeaway from what we watched with the George Floyd video? What is the takeaway from the insurrection on January 6th? What is the takeaway when we see our Senate not come together simply because they sit on two different sides of the aisle? What is the takeaway when we see differences in our neighbors and we decide not to speak? The takeaway is important because what you give is what you will receive. We haven't been given enough. We have been showing up and we've been talking about it, but we haven't actually been doing the work and carrying it out. And so that's why the takeaway has been trauma. Because we have we've watched and we've seen a lot of our people suffer, and we turn the other way because we say, oh, it has nothing to do with me. Oh, I can hear the sirens of the fire department coming down the street. I hope it's not my house on fire. Oh, it's not. I'll just go on inside rather than to get a bucket of water and go and try to help to put the fire out. So the testimonies that we have are still of suffering. I think we all can testify to that. We all have been feeling and witnessing a lot of suffering from the trauma that we have collectively encountered. But I am here today to simply make us aware of one thing. In order to change it, there's just one simple thing we all need to do. Just one. Look deep inside yourself. What are you made out of? What can you give? How can you show up? Don't look to the left or the right. You know, in the Baptist church, in the Black churches, we say, turn to your neighbor. No. Don't turn to your neighbor tonight. I want you to turn inside yourself. And I want you to see what it is you have to give. How can you show up on this planet, around the globe, in this world, in your home, in your families? How are you showing up? What are you giving? Are you giving smiles? Are you giving compliments? Are you giving hugs? Are you giving the word of wisdom? Are you giving the teachings that you have learned so long ago? Are you holding on to it like you don't want anybody to know your secret sauce? And so many times we die and we take it with us. What I love about Barbara Marx Hubbard is that she made sure she gave it all away. She died empty. I want us to live empty. And that's what ungunning is about. Removing the things that are inside of you that you do not need, so that you can then pack it with the things that you were born to do through your gifts and talents, and then give it away to the world. Because just like Dot said, my saying is, hurt people, healed people, heal people. And I'm in business to help others heal. That is the reason I am here tonight. I want to thank you for having me.
Yeah. Wow. Dr. Marty, as you share all that, very inspiring. And Noelle, I love your answer to Dr. Marty's question. You are condensed light. I love that. So, you know, on the path, on the spiritual journey, right, there's a moment on the path where we have an aha, and it's a very challenging moment. You nailed it. You named it, Dr. Marty. It's that moment when we turn inside out and we realize we have been living life from the outside in. What other people think, what other people say, the influences, the pressures, what we should do, what we should think, all of this. And we make that shift and we begin to live consciously and intentionally from the inside out. And when we do that, we put ourselves in alignment with the great shifting that's happening on the planet.
Yes.
From pain and suffering to joy and achievement. And we're not fully there yet by any means. And yet we're there because there's nowhere to get to. So in order to realize that, there is a great need for healing these wounds, for becoming whole, for moving into the realization of our wholeness unto ourselves. Loving self, forgiving self, all of those things we know so well, to actually show up that way. It's this beautiful, I love the merging right now on the planet of the ancestral wisdom and the ageless wisdom as everything is coming forth. It makes me think of Brother Phil and our sisters in the Amazon, Awana Collectiva, and all this work that we're all doing. So, Marty, talk to us about Ungun a bit and what that process is, because and open it up too, please. If someone has a comment or a question or a profound insight, would be really welcome. So, but please share.
Well, first, let me give you a little bit of background of how Ungun came to be. It started with my own life and childhood when I realized that I was suffering from the inside. I came from a background, and my story is, let me say this, I'm very open with my story. I tell my story everywhere I go. I have a one-woman show where I play characters of my family or what have you, so that I can tell my story using the arts, because Ungun is about using the arts. Because that's a nice, safe way, and it's a universal language that individuals can say, you know what, I'm okay with taking in the message that way. If you put it in a music form or dance or or, you know, painting something. It seems to be a little bit more inviting. So the arts truly is the thing that saved my life. So my story is not unique, but I can only tell you how it landed on me. I came from a dysfunctional family where my father was an alcoholic and he was abusive to my mother. And it's really started showing up by the time I was in high school. All of that hurt and everything that I had witnessed, what do you do with that? Where does a child place those things that they saw, experiencing that negativity? I literally found my mother in the floor of the restroom where she tried to commit suicide. And I was the one that had to call 911 at 8 years old. I saw Noelle just grab her heart. And Noelle, I would still be grabbing my heart as well if that was still a trauma bullet for me. But because I have been able to ungun that, I understand that that happened. It did. And it's painful to say that it happened, but the pain is not inside of me anymore. I am able to take what has taken place with me in my life and allow it now to be a tool to teach and to show someone else how to come out of that. I'm able to help another 8-year-old child. I can identify the trauma that may be on children because I have had that type of experience. And that's what ungunning is all about, teaching individuals how to take that hurt and pain, along with some tools and techniques to turn it into something else. I can't change my story, but I can change my mind. Because when I change my mind on how the story lands in my body, I now can control how I show up in life. Because if I allow that story to still be hurt and painful for me, and it allows my body to then be triggered by other things that I hear and I react to that in a negative way, what am I doing? I'm hurting others around me. But I'm Dr. Marty today, a peace ambassador for around the globe because I had learned how to ungun that stuff. That's what ungunning is about. So it started with me in my teenage years when my music teacher, she spoke one word. She spoke one word to me that landed in such a way, it shifted my life. I had been fighting. I had just been showing up negatively in so many different forms. And my music teacher said, Marty, you're gifted. She says, you're gifted. And doors are going to open for you. But as quickly as they open, they will close because you need to change something on the inside. Woo. Powerful. Powerful. But when she said I was gifted, it gave me hope. It was just enough in that one word to let me know I was worth something. A lot of the children that are showing up today doing some awful acts is because of the experiences they have had. It's because of those trauma bullets still being lodged inside of them. And no one has come along and said, you're worth something. You're better than that. You're gifted. I love you. I see you going higher. If we had an opportunity to ungun children from the trauma bullets that they have experienced in their homes, they didn't ask to come into this world. But because we decided to bring them here, it is our duty to make sure that the world can receive them in such a way that we help to grow these babies to become something wonderful and special, and not allow the world to kill them. That's what we've been seeing.
Yeah.
We've been seeing children die daily, a slow death, because we also need to be ungunned. Trauma is transferable, and it is an energy that grows. If I came on here with a negative energy, already you would be feeling it in your spirit. But because of that global silent minute and some prayer and some smiles, we've been able to create a positive energy. I don't know about you, but I feel hopeful tonight.
Nice. Noelle, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, so our children need to be ungunned. So is the Ungun Institute, is it dedicated to working with children, or is it for teaching
It's for,
adults how to work? Tell me a little bit about that.
it's for everyone,
Yep.
but I'm more focused on the children, and I'll tell you why. I believe that we work with cycles, so to speak. And so the children, if we can grab a hold of the children now, by the time they become adults, they will have already been working with these tools and techniques, and they will be able to then carry and cover the other children coming underneath them. But right now, today, every last one of all of the adults that's on here right now, I pray that you all are saying, okay, where can I get ungunned tomorrow? Because it's necessary. And we need to start from the top down. Ungunning is for any and everyone, Noelle. And I have two of my trainers here with us today, Kenny Bay and Lisa Worth Hubbard. And I would like to ask them to also come forward and to share with you briefly their experience of one being ungunned, because they both have been. And then I would like for them to also share with you what it's like now to even be a trainer and how they have been using those tools and techniques to help to even ungun other individuals since they have been trained. So I don't know I'm going to ask Lisa to go first.
Oh, an honor to be here with all of you, and Dr. Marty and Dot, the words, the thoughts, it's just it's splendid, it's beautiful. And as are all of your smiles. So the experience, I'm going to talk to the 2 points. The first being the experience of being ungunned. So when I went to my first workshop, I had been to 2 of Dr. Marty's workshops on Zoom. And the first time had witnessed people being ungunned. And that was extremely moving because, as Dr. Marty has said, trauma is transferable. So when you are in a workshop and you are witnessing and presencing and there with others who are disarming the trauma and release and seeing in languaging for the first time for many of them, these stories that they have carried that have been toxic in their lives. So you witness this, and then you visually witness the change in their bodies, in their face, in their spirit. And you're not even in the room with them. This is on Zoom. That's how powerful it is. So the first time I was able to sit and witness and was profoundly moved. And then the second time I was able to be ungunned myself. And my experience in that was very interesting because I think we come sometimes with a sense of what it is that is the trauma that is going to surface for you. And because it's not just, we've lived a long lives. We don't just have one trauma story. We have multiple. It's like a sedimentary rock inside of us, and we're going to untraumatize these different parts of ourselves. But for me, I was really surprised what came forward. And it ended up being so tender, and it brought me back to a friend I had lost that I was able to reconnect with, through time and through this beautiful ungunning. And it opened my heart, and it has then made me more tender toward just every interaction I have, because I want to meet them, as Dr. Marty would tell us all, I want to meet them in the center. I want to meet them in the heart. So that's my ungun experience. I can also tell you a little bit about the training, but maybe Kenny wants to speak next before we go there. What's the thought on that one?
Well, thank you, Lisa. That was amazing. Thank you, Dot and Dr. Marty, for this incredible space, and everyone that's a part of this incredible container here, that we are sharing our collective work to help heal each other in this planet. As Dr. Marty said, I was that individual, unconscious, unknowing, unaware of the trauma that I was carrying within me. And you don't know what you just don't know. So I was that person just going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. That was it. And I have to admit, that was boring. Because why? I wasn't making an impact. Now, was I doing some community service? Yes, but I just was not stretching myself. I was not giving. And there was just a silent knock or nudge within my inner being was saying, Kenny, you can do more. And when I was connected with Dr. Marty and saw the work that she was doing on a global stage, I felt that this was something that could help people and allow me to stretch out of my comfort zone. And we connected. And when I was, like Lisa just shared, seeing others go through the process and watching breakthroughs, that's what I'm all about, is being able to help others. But the sad reality, and I'm one of the biggest coach and biggest fan, whatever you are doing in life, I'm there going to cheer you on. But I just have to admit, and I hope I can be candid with everyone here, I was not being a coach and a best friend to myself. I really didn't believe in myself. I mean, I have these dreams, but then the question is, okay, Kenny, why are you not making that step forward? And so going through that undone experience allowed me to sever those chains, to step out of the cage, to let go of any weight mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that was just weighing me down and allowing me to be my authentic self. But it didn't stop there, because it's just not about me, as Dot just shared, because we all are in this one shared experience. We have to share it. And so we have to show up as well. So whatever I can do to help anyone else become undone and help them establish a breakthrough within their life so they can live their marvelous life, then I believe that I'm doing my part. And I just want to continue to amplify that in this space, in this universe. So that's why that was part of my experience being undone.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm seeing some videos come on as Lisa and Kenny are speaking. I'm thinking that means people are getting ready to say something, put something in the field. So not to put anyone on the spot, except Dr. Marty, Bob has a question, and then hopefully some folks are going to jump into the conversation here. Marty, it takes a village to raise the children. What is your perspective in the balance of the role of parents, other children, faith communities, public schools, and government? That's pretty inclusive, Bob. Thank you.
It is. And Bob, actually, your answer is in your question.
There you go.
If parents were the only ones to influence their children, then the others wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
But children don't just live in the home. They go outside of the home, and they're influenced and with educators and other individuals in their community, and what they see on television, and what they're listening to on the radio, and these video games that they're playing. There's so many different forms of influence that these children have, because when we're talking about energy, we're talking about the source of that, and how that comes to us, how we create that energy is through our five senses. It's what we see, we touch, we taste, we smell, so if at the end of the day, we all hold a responsibility for the child. Now, the child may belong to two parents, and possibly. And you know what I mean? So the bottom line is we understand this is the family that the child came from, but the child belongs to all of us.
Yeah.
And everything living and breathing on this planet belongs to all of us. We're all responsible. And that is the role that we need to take. And it goes back to what I was saying before. When we hear the fire truck, we stop and we just make sure it's not our house on fire. And then we go on about our business. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I grew up in a community where when I was younger, and we were playing outside and we did something wrong, and my parents might not have been at home or my grandmother wasn't at home, but if the neighbor caught it, we were in trouble so many ways.
Yeah.
We were in trouble by every neighbor who witnessed it. Then when my parent came home, we're in trouble again. And it was almost as if like you couldn't turn to the left or the right and do anything wrong because you had so many eyes on you. We're too busy looking away. The village has left the building with Elvis. We need to come back.
Marty, you crack me
Yeah,
up.
I think it's also important to acknowledge that our change in our society is just like you said, Marty, that we don't, we've kind of been taught that we don't, or our society is devolved, not evolved, to assuming that we don't need to concern ourselves about that other kid that you just said, that before we were on display to the whole neighborhood in the subdivision when we were kids, not just to our parents. And I think also it kind of can get into the conversation and the politics and everything else about what's the role of school. What percentage is the role of school? What percentage is the role of government programs, state programs, local government programs, federal programs, as if there's some division of percentages of roles and responsibilities that adds up to 100. And the fact is that it shouldn't add up to 100. Everybody that is in that list and a bigger list that I mentioned, if they're doing more than their perceived or what they're told is their percentage of the responsibility, the child has an opportunity to have like 1,000% of support from different places, rather than limiting ourselves to, well, that's 90% of it should really be the parents. Oh, there's only one parent. Oh, well, okay. So 45% of it should really be the parent. And then 25% should be what they're taught at school. And are they in church or are they not in church? Are they in a faith community or not in a faith community? So I appreciate what you're saying.
I apologize, Bob. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I do want to just jump in real quick to say this, if you don't mind. When I was in my greatest traumatic tornado, my mother was in my home. My step-up father was in my home. I had a great-grandmother still living, my grandmother, a great-grandfather still living. My father had moved to California, but still in my life. I went to church, but yet and still trauma is transferable. So what was happening with my mother and father, what happened in the dynamics of the abuse that was happening between them, I witnessed it. Those trauma bullets was lodged inside of me. And so that's how it was showing up. If my teacher I was not even in her class in that moment. She told me to come after school to have that talk. She wasn't getting paid to tell me to have that talk, that extra 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But that extra 10 minutes afforded me an opportunity to be here with you today.
Yeah.
So if I can't prove to you how important it is for you to get all up in somebody's business, by what I just shared, how I shown, I mean, I really went from a troubled child to a peace ambassador on a global stage.
Yeah. Yeah, in a good way. You know, this conversation is making me think of we tend to think of things in terms of duality and separateness. And as everything is shifting, even the language that we have spoken for our lives and generations past was developed in an illusion of separation. And right now we are challenged, and Bob, you named it, Dr. Marty, you're calling us out on it all the time, to connect, knowing that we are of one source and we differentiate. And so, well, a couple of you have asked me privately, what are the red circles up behind me? So, this is Nicholas Roerich designed this banner of peace. And the banner of peace, called an International Roerich Pact, was supported by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Actually, the recognition that, and it was supposed to fly like the Red Cross does, during times of crisis, and it marks a safety, hospital, caring kind of place. This was designed to fly over all schools and any educational institute, libraries, museums, the arts, protect the arts and education in times of peace and war. So the circle of, where am I here? The circle of one humanity. It's hard to do on Zoom.
No.
Here we go. The circle of one humanity, and we are one within cosmos. And the 3 dots represent the arts, sciences, and religions. And when we learn to acknowledge and appreciate, to celebrate, in fact, all the arts, sciences, and religions, regardless of who we are or where we come from or what we look like, etc., or how we choose to celebrate our divinity, we will indeed live in a culture of peace. And so this does fly in many places around the world, and the Roerich Pact is still in the State Department in the U.S. So Kathy asked a question then, what is the impact of the shutdown on our children? Will there be a generation that needs a collective ungun after 2020? And the reason I went into this first, Dr. Marty and everyone in the room, is because if we have the capacity to actually start looking at one another, connecting and conversing, as you call us to, you and me, Dr. Marty, all the time. We may not always agree, you say to me, but darn right, we're going to connect, unite our hearts, and converse and cooperate through communication. So, because we know that we are in it together, we know we're one, we know we're sisters, and we get to think for ourselves and act accordingly. And there's a deep, deep bottom line to all that is all about love. So is there a collective ungunning after 2020 for a generation due to the impact of the shutdown?
It's necessary, if that's what you're asking. I completely believe that it is necessary that we try to have this collective ungunning, not just for the children, but also for those who oversee the children and those who even oversee us, who's voting and making decisions on how we're showing up in the world. We just we're still in the pandemic, but hopefully we're on the back end of this pandemic. But think about that. That's trauma. That's trauma. You have some people that have been isolated in their homes for over a year. And I have a friend, she's like, Marty, I'm flying. I'm going to see my grandchildren for the first time tomorrow. And I haven't been on the plane since last year. And I shared some things with her because I automatically know she's going to be triggered. She's going to be triggered just walking through the airport from the moment that she sits down on the flight and wondering, if someone coughs, wondering what that, how that shows up in our mind, our body, and spirit. Trauma is real and we live with it every single day. The biggest thing that we can do is acknowledge it. Just know that it's good. I was talking to Kenny earlier. We were working on something and I said, Kenny, the best way I can describe ungun is insurance for trauma. It's insurance because it's going to happen. Would you drive your car today, your really, really nice car, without insurance? No. Well, don't drive your car, your body, your mind, and spirit without the insurance of ungun, because what it does, it gives you the tools and techniques that will be necessary for you to use once you have been triggered. So that you no longer further allowing those things to become trauma bullets, those events sticking with you and hurting yourself or someone else. So think about that. Think about a bullet being inside of you. And the doctor said, well, if we try to remove it, we could damage one of your organs. So we're just going to kind of let you live with that bullet inside of you. And there's plenty of people walking around today with bullets still inside of them, right? Well, we don't want you living with that trauma bullet, because we understand as long as you're holding on to that, you will fire it back out and hurt somebody else when you least expect it. And the worst bullet is how we fire it out through our mouths with what we say. Words matter. Words hurt. Yeah. And words can change worlds.
Yeah.
And so when people are firing out those trauma bullets that's been lodged inside of them, coming out of what they say, we see a lot of things shift. And imagine those who have a bullet that explodes on the inside. That's where suicide begins to develop, those thoughts and those attempts. Because they live with, I don't want to hurt anyone else, so I'll just keep pushing it down. And I'll keep pushing it down. And all they're doing is hurting themselves. So to answer your question, Kathy, yes, we need a global ungunning. That's why Dot and I have partnered, and we're showing up on these stages to talk about this, because I also recognize that if they can't hear it from me, maybe they can hear it from Dot. And if they can't hear it from Dot, maybe they can hear it from Kenny. Yeah, exactly. And if they can't hear it from Kenny, Kathy, maybe they can hear it from you. Yes. So if we come together, the more we understand and learn, and it's so easy. Now, let me say this. There's 4 parts to ungunning. The very first part of ungunning is very, very intense. That's where you're going to feel it. You're going to literally feel all of that stuff come up when I take you there on stage, because I use the arts to do so. But after that experience, it's almost as if you're standing in the floor for the first time naked and seeing yourself in the mirror. And instead of you being traumatized, you go, I'm really beautiful. Oh my God, I didn't know I was shaped this way. Well, look at this. And that's where Lisa and Kenny and the rest of my team will come in. And they're going to take those things that came out of you, and we're going to help you to build these masterpieces of art. Can you imagine that?
I can. And that just made me want to sing. Like, imagine that, having been through it a couple of times. And then you are in front of the mirror and it's like, you are so beautiful to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are so beautiful to me. Can't you see? Yeah, everything I hope for.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dot.
You're everything I need.
Don't you know you are so beautiful. Kathy, Noel, Lori, Tex, Cecilia, Patricia, Susan, Darcy, you are so beautiful
to me.
Yes, to we. Yes, Rick, we're thinking about you. So yes.
I see Cecilia's ready to say something. And Lisa, I saw you with your hand up earlier. And I see Patricia is here. Let's hear a little bit about Ungun's going to be showcased during World Unity Week coming up. I know, Cecilia, you've got a couple of concerts. Lisa, I'm not sure what you wanted to share, but let's jump in.
Can I just jump in here? Dr. Marty, you said there are 4 parts. Did we get through all 4 of them?
We did not. So
or do you not do the other parts?
Well, the bottom line is this: we use the arts. We use the arts to do that. So you go to the stage on the first part. That's where the ungunning happens, and that's very intense. And then after that, you go to 3 studios. That's the music studio, the paint studio, and the dance studio. Now, I can't share with you what happens in those studios because that's then telling you all about Ungun. So if you're interested and you want to know how that works, of course, you have an opportunity to come and join us in a Zoom room. We have another collective ungunning coming up July 9th, 10th, and 11th on Zoom. So you can just join us right from where you are right now. And if you want to take it up a notch and you say, you know what, I want to meet this team, this fabulous team of people in person because things are opening up and I kind of been laid back for 12 months. I want to come and meet you. Then you can. We will be doing our very first in-person ungun session in Bath, Maine.
Yeah, in October.
That's in October 15th, 16th, and 17th. And I have an extra little something that I'm going to share with you that's going to happen if you decide to come. I am also doing my one-woman show.
Ow. Yeah, that's exciting, right? So yeah, so be in touch if you're interested in that. I put the email. CC. Oh, nice. Talk about that, Bob. What are you doing?
Well, I'll talk about it.
Talk about that, Noelle. What are you doing?
Bob's got his mouth full.
There
Yeah,
you
the
go.
co-creators convergence. We've been, the first year started out in 2013. Barbara Marks Hubbard, it was a gathering for her when she got the Spiritual Leadership Award, and it was supposed to be a one-time event. But the energy and everything was so great that we said, well, let's keep meeting. So we've been meeting every year since, except 2020 had a little burp. Kathy's, she's been to every one except the very first one. And, so we decided we usually go to Loveland, Colorado, but this year, because everything's a little different, we're going to the White Eagle Lodge, a very
Ooh,
blessed, sacred community in Montgomery, Texas, just north of.
yes, it is.
Yeah, so that's the White Eagle Lodge, and we're going to have the temple, the labyrinth, the 77 blessed acres. So, I think that overlaps with your date, your in-person date. So that is disappointing.
Well, we'll link with you and you link with us because that's how it works anyway. Tex, we look forward to it.
Awesome.
Tex plans to be there. That's awesome, is right.
I love it, Texas. Good to see you on here.
Yeah.
So, excuse me for turning up late. I'm a bit in jail with this World Unity Week room, putting things together. So
We understand.
I don't know where I am, in what time zone, and I'm all over the place. So I need to settle down. So I apologize. As I said, I could have sneaked in and watched on Facebook, which I started. And then I said, no, out of respect, I will acknowledge with vulnerability that I'm late, but I'm here. And I was writing a question about how does Ungun in Maine line up with CCC in Houston, in Texas, because I intended to go to CCC in Texas. But we have to organize that. I don't know what's
Well, awesome. Well,
This won't be the only Ungun in person.
Well, no, it will not be. That's right, Lisa. Thank you for.
But it will be the first. It will be the first.
It's
Well,
gonna
we may not make the first, but we still could connect through Zoom technology or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
We'll figure a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, right, Dr. Marty?
That's right. That's right, Noelle. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Patricia. So lots going on. Noelle and Bob, what else did you want to say about World Unity Week?
Give me your email. I'll send you the blast. We have so much going on.
Direction. Point us in the direction. It's worldunityweek.org.
World Week, yeah. And we'll be a part of that June 22 through 25. And we have Lori Timmerman on here. She's going to be doing 2 presentations. And one is on community. This is really interesting, becoming their own legal defense So communities, I don't know, Laurie, if you want to mention what you'll be doing?
Well, regarding this particular topic, I'll be doing one session with World Beyond War on June 25th at 5 p.m. And of all things in synchronicity this week, World Beyond War put on a film show called Soldiers Without Guns.
Mm.
And so there's this level of the individual level and individual trauma. But this movie was remarkable because you had a 10-year civil war of an island off of Papua New Guinea, and it had failed attempts of peacemaking, and it was the New Zealanders going in without guns and with guitars that led to the lasting peace that has now been for 20 years.
Wow.
So this is really a remarkable thing to do and share. And I, as a global specialist, had never heard of this conflict, which had lasted 10 years. It was just never even reported in the media or given any attention.
Okay,
So it was soldiers without guns. And then the second talk is going to be on CELDEF, Community Environmental Legal Defense Fund. We'll be interviewing Ben Price, who's been with them since 2004. And it's really a leverage point. It's really to take the diagnosis of a system that's broken, a system that has been rigged in favoring corporations, disempowering communities, and it's giving them this tool of the Community Bill of Rights that communities draft. We have rights to free, clean water. We have rights to climate friendly energy policies, and then they pass that in their communities. But it doesn't end there, because
Beautiful.
we need to bring it, get some other people to
Okay.
share too, Laurie.
Okay, so that's on the 23rd, also at 5 p.m.
Beautiful. So you can find all of this and at worldunityweek.org, and certainly the Co-Creators Convergence is putting out all these blasts on Facebook, and yes, and Ungun Institute is as well, Dr. Marty, Global Silent Minute as well. So so please take a look at this massive offering. Thanks to Unity Earth, Sign Network, and so many partners around the world, co-conveners around the world. So, Dr. Marty.
I was just going to say, we can't forget Purpose Earth.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Purpose Earth, thank you. So so much going on during World Unity Week, and in fact, in the May Peace Prevail on Earth room on the 22nd, the first of those 4 days that Noel spoke of, we are dedicating it to the International Day of Peace. So if you tune in there throughout the day, you'll hear a number of folks from the United Nations, from May Peace Prevail on Earth, from Pathways to Peace, from all of the many civil society groups sharing the history, the resolutions, the program of action, all of it for the International Day of Peace. So that'll be exciting.
I'm going to do a little more advertising.
Oh,
So
good.
we're going to have the special guest is going to be Daniel Ellsberg. If anyone recognizes that name of the Pentagon Papers, this is the 50th anniversary. And he's 90 years old. He is Barbara Marx Hubbard's brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And he is sharp as a tack. Brilliant man.
Yeah.
So he'll be on. And then we also have an evening with Marianne Williamson and Stephen Dinan of the Shift Network, and our friend Eleanor LeCain, a legal strategist. We're going to have 4 movies every night. We're having a different movie from 8 to 10, and we have 3 different musical groups. And Kathy Mason is bringing, real quick, 4 panels, one on near-death experiences, one on, come on, Kathy.
Okay, so one on angel guidance, another one on spirituality and oneness, another one on bringing the message of oneness to education globally with education reformers, and NDEs, which is near-death experiencers, and oneness.
Mm.
So awesome. It's going to be so difficult, but can we get back to a question to Dr. Marty? I want to know how you can get certified. What's the process for getting certified as an ungun trainer?
Well, at this time, I have already chosen my first stream of trainers, which is 5 trainers from around the nation. And we will probably open it back up again, maybe next year in 2022, because this is my first time, if you will, now bringing trainers in. We need to just make sure that everything runs up, accordingly, because this is not easy work. It's not easy work, and that is the reason that I will do the ungunning portion, and then my trainers work in the they actually work in the studios. And so it's going to take a little time for us to just develop this out or what have you.
But if someone is interested, be in touch. And the very first thing is participate in one of the ungun workshops to get a feel for the experience, to get yourself ungunned, and to see if it really resonates in your heart.
Absolutely. I introduced Ungun nationally in 2017. So I have been the one doing the full ungunning, if you will, for several years now. And I'm just now getting to a place where I'm like, okay, I need to bring in some trainers, and they are awesome and amazing in their own right. I would like for Lisa and Kenny to give you a little bit about their background and what they do. And I do want to say, with a few of my other trainers that are not present, that we have one that works specifically with the background of working with domestic violence. We have another trainer who actually works in the space with me in St. Louis with a lot of the mothers who have experienced gun violence with the loss of their children here in the city of St. Louis. And then we have another trainer who works many, many years in the diversity, equity, and inclusion background. So she's a trainer in doing that. And so we're just excited about who we have, and they have been handpicked and just finished their certification about a week and a half ago. So we'll allow them to speak to that, if you will. Lisa and Kenny, and what that experience was like for you. We'll go first with Kenny this time.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Marty. The training process was intense. It was very straightforward. It allowed you to see yourself and to be totally honest, to see where those trauma bullets are lodged within inside of yourself. And I had to go through that experience. And so in order for me to be able to help others, and just to give you a brief intro about my work, is I've always been connected with education. And I believe that that's a huge gateway to help, like Dr. Marty shared, how we can turn this narrative around, this healing, if we start with the youth. And I noticed over the years of being in education, how you see the innocence of children in elementary, how they're so excited to learn and to connect with people, regardless of differences. But then as they age progress from elementary to middle, and from middle to high school, and from high school to beyond, you see that light begins to dim and almost go out, where they just disconnect and they connect into an artificial world. And so I felt that it was important to get involved in this and become certified, to be able to get and hit the ground running, and to be able to, again, rewrite this narrative so we can have a generation that can be very proud of the work that we're doing.
Thank you, Kenny. Awesome and
Pleasure.
amazing. As you all can see, why Kenny has been chosen. Or I should say why Kenny chose Ungun. He's made for this. Lisa.
Oh, thank you. That was beautiful, Kenny. Thank you. Um, the, the 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 training was extraordinary, and I'm not going to go into that. I'll just give you. Kenny described it beautifully. I found it to be just another way of deepening the healing and very transformative. And I also feel that the team of trainers, I feel such a love and such a connection that it's really profound. And I thank you all for that. So I wear multiple hats. I'm a professor. I teach sociology. I teach a writing intensive. I teach a master's program in creative writing and storytelling. I work with children of incarcerated parents. I work in homeless shelters. I work in safe houses. And I really try, last 20 years have been trying, helping people give voice to their stories, because as we've all witnessed, being able to articulate the story within us is the first way toward healing and removing it. And I also live 10 miles from Sandy Hook. So I've experienced that directly. A lot of the students that I work with, the families that I work with, the community that I work with are living in a communal trauma. And so that has been also, I see Ungun as being just unparalleled in being able to continue to heal the trauma that is within, these communities.
Wow. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
you can clearly see why Lisa has been chosen to be one of the first stream of trainers. And all of our trainers are just so impressive in their own right. And I'm just excited for the world to have an opportunity to get to meet each of them and work with each of them. And I am blessed and I am honored to have them on my team.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank everyone at Ungun. And thank you, Noelle and Bob, for this opportunity with this particular event. Deep, meaningful, moving, so much love in this room. Yeah. Thank you. And everyone for holding the container with us. So back to you, Noelle and Bob.
Well, before we do that, can I just check in on Cecilia again? Cecilia, I put my information in the chat so that you will have that and you can contact me in the next couple of days. But because I see you're smiling, you're looking brighter to me. I'm seeing your color coming in, and I just want to see how you feeling.
I'm doing okay. I'm sitting in a place of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Generational pain. I think when we heal ourselves, we heal our ancestors, and then those who go before us or after us will shine the light brighter.
Yeah. Yes. You are.
I'm gonna break in here and thank Dr. Marty and Dot. As Dot was saying, she could feel the presence of Barbara here because this has been an exceptional experience, something we weren't expecting at all, heart on its way to be mended. And that heart is going to sing from her heart for us to close us out tonight. So if everyone would just put yourself on mute, Cecilia is going to sing us out, and then we will close. So thank you for being here tonight. I have chills all over my body. It's been tremendous. I love you all, and thank you.
Thank you, Noelle. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Dot. Thank you, Dr. Marty. I look forward to connecting with you in the future. My eyes have done this share of drying. Oh, my mind's been preoccupied. My destruction. Oh, my hand shakes cold from numb. My back breaks from people's perceptions, where judgments and grudges are. But I'm not going to hate, even if I ache inside. Not going to hurt someone, even if it's justified. I'm not going to lie, even if I've been deceived. Eye for an eye, it's not the life I choose. I choose to lead. Oh, oh, I choose to lead. So I'm calling on sad souls and seekers, oh, out here to the saints of men, like Martin, Gandhi, and Jesus. We shall all learn to forgive. So I'm not going to hate, even if I ache inside. Not going to hurt someone, even if it's justified. Not going to lie, even if I've been deceived. Eye for an eye, it's not the life I choose. I choose to lead. Oh, oh, I choose to lead. I choose to lead with all of you. With all of you.
Oh.